Hello again, everybody. The next car that you've selected to view on ClassicMuscleCars.com is not necessarily a new arrival here because this car has been in inventory for a while. 6 months approximately is the amount of time that this car has been in inventory, but it's taken us 6 months to get it, to bring it here, to get it finished so that now it's ready for sale and it's in our showroom here in Wakanda. Now this is a very unique car. It's a very unique opportunity for someone who can realize what this opportunity is. If you recently watched the Barrett Jackson classic car auction that was on Speed TV, you'll know that a lot of the custom cars that you saw that went across the auction block were bringing unbelievable, astounding money. I saw cars that were custom cars, street rods, and even customs similar to this bring 100, 200, 300,000 and more. Now, these cars they were talking about were supposedly handmade. Yes, they are created different. They're not a stock quote-unquote car, but they're not truly a handmade car like this car. This car was built back in the early 60s, and it is a handmade car. Now, I've done body work and paint before myself, so I know what it takes to do something like this. This is an incredible piece of automotive history here. This car was completely handmade, hand-formed. There is no machines that was going to help a fabricator make this car. The original person who did the work on this car took a body hammer, a pick, a file, and a dolly, and that's how he formed all the sheet metal on this car. It took thousands and thousands of hours of work to get this car into what you see today, to build it the way it is. It is completely hand-built. Now, after this car was completed in 1964, it won the Boston World of Wheels. And then from that point, it was in about 18 major magazines and publications for street rods and rods and customs of its era and of its day. So a lot of people out on the East Coast remember this car because it was toured out in that area with most of the ISCA shows. Now, what we had to do was a lot. We got this car and it basically was taken out of mothballs, so to speak. So we had to basically resurrect it. It already had, somebody went in and done a quickie paint job on it. We had to redo it, okay? And Jeremy's showing you the reflection that's here. It's awesome. We did an incredible amount of work to get this car back up in the last 6 months to the way that we want it here at ClassicMuscleCars.com. Engine compartment was basically left the way it was day one. I mean, it needed to be totally redone, and we did do that. It had a tri-power intake on it, and that was with the car, but we put that on. We had to rebuild all the carburetors. We had to go through all of that. It's all now on the car. It's awesome. This car originally, believe it or not, was a police car. It was a state police car, 57 Ford. So it's come a long way from the days that it used to run on the turnpikes out in the East Coast where it was a police car at, pulling people over and writing speeding tickets, right? Can you imagine getting pulled over by a car like this today?
I think we should put the bar on top again.
Yeah, really. It'd be awesome. But there's so many incredible things that were done to this car, and if you're a person that can appreciate these kind of cars, classic muscle cars, classic cars of the 50s, and custom cars like this, it's an incredible amount of work. You know, today when you hear about people that are fabricators that are building these cars, well, they have a lot of machines that can make parts for them, and it's a whole lot easier. But when you're absolutely working with something that you are hand forming and hand making, it is just an incredible amount of time to do it. And you know what? After you get done with something like this, it is an absolute, no questions, one of a kind that will never ever be duplicated. And that is the way that this car is. Now, I want to mention too, we have a second part to this video, which is actually the first part. What we're doing here, Jeremy is going to reverse this around. You've probably been watching the video to say, hey, we got this car in, we're going to work on it. Well, now we're reversing that. So if you hang around when I'm done with the part now where I'm talking about the car because we're finished with it, you can see what we're talking about, and I go through a lot more of the history of the car in the other part of the video, which you'll be viewing. Right now, we've just got it in our showroom yesterday, so we're making this video so that we can talk about the car. And if you need any information, give Ed a call, 847-526-5950. He can give you the information that you want and take a lot of the pictures. Now, getting back to what we did with this car, besides doing paint work, besides doing the engine compartment, besides doing, putting the tri-power intake back on this car, we had to redo the interior. The interior has 4 T-Bird bucket seats in it. It has a console that runs from the front of the dash all the way back. It was all handmade, and all of that had to be redone. It has a different nostalgia style steering wheel on it, and we had to redo the dash. So there's a lot of things that we had to do to this car to get it in this kind of condition. They also went through and we detailed the trunk. So, wet sand buffed the car. Just a lot of work that we've done over 6 months on this particular car. Now it's ready to take and either put out there in another show, ISCA, or take it out and cruise it around, because I'll tell you what, I don't care where this car goes, it draws a ton of attention. When you look at it, it's shocking because it's like, what is it? Well, you know what? It is the way that some of the top rod and custom cars were built in the days in the early 60s. So this is a piece of muscle car, classic car, rod and custom history here, because a lot of people that were around going to the shows in the 60s would have seen this car at some of the international shows that they had in the 60s. There's a lot of things that are unique too. We have a lot of that information listed as far as how this was done, and some of the pieces from other cars that were incorporated into this car to give you this design. What you look at right away when I look at the cars, I can see the fins in the back. I know it's a 57 Ford, but that's about where it ends, because the taillights are different. The whole front end is completely different. It's just an awesome creation. It's something that is a great investment, and you might say, well, Tony, how's it a great investment? And a lot of people are going, oh, it's not a muscle car or whatever. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. Barrett-Jackson Auction just proved what happens with custom cars. The amounts of money that were being brought for cars that were one-of creations were topping a lot of the muscle cars that were stock and original type cars, because it takes so much work to make an original creation. This is a car that we resurrected. This is a car that the original owner spent over 1.5 years working on. He even gotten a divorce over this car because he spent so much time in the garage. Some people might say, well, that's a good thing. It depends on who's saying what, where, when, how, right? But anyway, this is just an awesome looking car. We're real excited to get it back here. It's something that I've had a lot of fun being involved with it over the last 6 months that we've had it, because something would come up, the guys would call me, Tony, what do you want to do here? What are we going to do? This, that, or the other. And we had to take it pretty much basically week by week, day by day, month by month, until we got it to the point where you can see it here. So give Ed a call at 847-526-5950. He can give you the information on it. Stick around and watch the rest of this video, because it shows the car when we first got it. Jeremy's going to go through it completely. He's going to show you the engine compartment, the engine bay. He'll show you the interior. He'll go through the trunk. He'll go completely around the car. Any photographs that you want to get of the car, again, give Ed a call, and he can take digital photos, and great photos, to be able to email to you. This is a car that I think once you sit back and you think about it and you look at it, this is a car that you really can't put a price on. You really can't, because if you had to build this car, $250,000 in today's money would not build this car. This is a hand-built, handcrafted car, but we're not even going to be anywhere near that. So somebody is buying a whole lot of equity into this car, because you never know, if you took it to one of the big auctions, what this car would bring. So it's a great investment. Give Ed a call, 847-526-5950. And you know what? Jeremy, when you go around this car, maybe you can start it up a little bit so they can hear that too. That might be a cool thing.
This is a cool car.
Jeremy called me last night. He said, "Hey Tony, you know, I just looked at the Ford, you know, the Custom. I'd really like to have that car." So Jeremy's going to have to take it out and cruise it around a little bit, right?
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Oh, it's such a beautiful day out here. The light is right. Figured I'd take it outside so you can see us outside, even though we have all this snow, but it's beginning to melt today. We've got the hood open so we can take a quick look under here. Yeah, maybe we'll take a long look under here because they did a real nice job under there. You got the 3-deuce manifold on there. Turn around to the other side. Beautiful job under the hood. As you can see here, we have a tour bus from Indiana, the Lowell Crown Point area. And there's something a little bit different. There's the electric fuel pump with the regulator. Looks like a pretty high volume pump. Those 3 deuces probably need it. We'll close the hood up a little later on, so see what it looks like. Let's go on the inside. Oh, while we're here, the original ISCA, International Show Car Association sticker. And back here, some authentic, genuine, original, I believe. Yes, these have to be original. Vintage HURST and Ford and Holly stickers. Well, let's go inside. The door handle there is a little bit different. These courtesy lights, you probably can't see them in this light, but those come on when you open the door. Custom piece there. Now these seats used to be black and white, but they needed to be redone, so we have them done in the white material. Right there we have the water temp, oil pressure, vacuum, and amp gauge. That's a custom plate there for the shifter. You have a bank of switches for the interior red lights, interior panel lights, interior rear lights, backup light, hood light, and trunk light. This button here is the horn. Front and rear cigarette lighters. Now this is probably from the 70s. This is an AM FM CB in dash unit. And getting over to the speedo here, it's a 120 speedo. And the odometer is reading 82,425.9. And while we're here, let's start it up. Sounding pretty good. It started right up this morning too, no problem. Good sounding machine, good power. You know, the 390 is a pretty strong engine, especially with these 3 deuces. All right, let's close this back up. Let's continue around. Some nice Kragers. And they have Goodyear's, Polyglass GT F60 14s. With the simulated knockoffs. Going around the back. The detail here is real nice too. Totally awesome. And there's me in the reflection there. Absolutely beautiful. And yes, I could see myself driving this thing around. There's the teardrop hood. It's I think we said that was off of a Thunderbolt. Just the teardrop part. That was glassed in there. Let's go look through the windshield here at the inside. The custom console that runs all the way front and rear. It's got some speakers back there. Anyway, I just found out where the trunk release is. It's back behind this seat. Except it says hood release. So let me pop that. Well, the tour bus just took off, so I waited for them to take off. But now let's take a look in the trunk. Not a whole lot to see. There's the 6x9s in the rear panel. These light housings. Steel back there. It's steel in the back. Actually, steel here too, I think. Hard to tell. If I had a magnet. That's steel. Yeah, I was right. Very nice. The amount of time that went into this has got to be astronomical. That closed nicely. This is truly a one-of-a-kind machine. Very slick, very neat. I wish I could walk up on this snow, but I'm not going to attempt to right now. That hood scoop looks pretty cool. Thunderbolt's hood scoop. Teardrop hood scoop.
Well, hello everybody. We've got something fun for you today. We have a nostalgic 1957 Ford that has been turned into an incredible custom hot rod back from the day in the early 60s. Now, to give you a little background about this car, it was sold new to the Rhode Island State Police and it remained in service until 1961. Then the car was sold to the original creator who did the car, and he spent the next 3 years turning it into what you see. At that time, it was taken out on tour on the 1964-1965 ISCA show car World of Wheels circuit, and this car won in Boston in 1964. It's been in several major magazines of its day, so it's a well-known custom car that was really ahead of its time. This is an incredible creation. I like to get involved with cars like this because the amount of work that it takes to make a creation like this, it's just incredible. They did a fantastic job on it, the original creator of this car, and kind of where we're at with this right now is that we're trying to resurrect it, so to speak. We're trying to get it back close to what it was the days of 64, 65 when it was shown. Now the car's got new paint on it. The engine and the drivetrain runs very well, but it was originally shown with a tri-power setup. We do have that tri-power setup that we're going to put back on the car. We have an extensive amount of detailing to do under the hood. The interior of the car right now is original from when it was built in the early 60s, but we're going to go through and redo it. It has 4 T-Bird bucket seats in it. It has a full run custom console all the way through the body of the car, so it's really cool. And there's a lot of different things as far as Stuart Warner original vintage gauges and so on and so forth. So we're going to go back and redo a lot of this. So we have a lot of work on our plate for this particular car. The door jambs, the trunk jambs, they have not been painted with the new color that's been put on the car and under the hood, so we've got to do all that. So I wanted to get this car in today. I wanted to talk to you about it a little bit, and it's going to be a progress of work in progress as we go along here. So Jeremy's going to give you a brief overview of the car, and then we're going to send it to our restoration shop. We've got a flatbed on its way right now to come pick it up. Now, cars like this are very unique. We've had a few in the past. They're very hard to come by. These are very rare cars. If you built a car that would compare to this car today in today's times and the amount of money that would cost to create a car like this, you're talking several hundred thousands of dollars to be able to do a piece of artwork like this. So this is a piece of our automotive hot rod history that we have here that we are going to finish to resurrect and bring it back the way that it, close to the way that it was in the early days that it was built. So I'm going to let Jeremy give you a brief overview on this. Call Ed at 847-526-5950. Get some more information. We have an extensive amount of information and history with this particular car, and Ed's going to put that up on the website. But give him a call. He can keep you abreast of when we're going to probably get this car done. It's going to be a little bit of time here because we want to do this car right, because this is a piece of automotive history that needs to be done the right way, not the wrong way. Now, you'll notice too when Jeremy goes around, it's got a ISCA seal on it, International Show Car Association. It's got some vintage original stickers from day one as far as Holley parts and tires and Ford and so on and so forth. This also is very unique because it's got a teardrop hood scoop on it that was custom made to be put into the original hood. It's not a fiberglass hood except for the top of it, and this was the vintage parts that they were using. This was the era when the 64 Thunderbolt was roaming the street. So that's the hood, the teardrop hood that was used on the Thunderbolts. So there's a lot of cool stuff with this car. It's got an incredible looking front end, an incredible rear end, and it's just an awesome car. And I really appreciate the kind of workmanship that it takes to create a custom car like this. So give Ed a call. As I said, he can give you some information as far as the time, and if you have any more questions, you can ask him, and hopefully pictures. He's going to take quite a few today, so that if you have any questions about some more pictures, he can do that for you also.
Well, this car just arrived. I mean, there's the trailer that came in just a few minutes ago. And all I can say is I've never seen anything quite like this. And as Tony said, we're going to be doing a little bit of work on this. We're not going to get into it too much right now. I'm just going to do the exterior. It's got some very nice vintage wheels with the knockoffs. Now let's look through the window. Nice gauge package. HURST shifter. And this console goes the length of the inside here. And it's got, like he said, the 4 T-Bird buckets. Yeah, we'll get to the other side and take a look on the inside there. Let's get to where the sun is, if you can actually see the color of this thing. And even though it's a California plate, this car originally came from Rhode Island. Check this out. Here's some of the stickers. It's an original Holly sticker. And the HURST. Custom door opening here. You got the button with the little handle on the door there. The pull. ISCA. Let's take a look in from this side. This is very cool as it is. We're going to do some interior work. We're going to do some paint work. And when it comes back, we're going to tack it onto this video so you can see it now. And then when it comes back, you'll see the finished product. And we'll go through it thoroughly when it comes back. 1957, cool Ford. Oh, we got to take a look at the antenna thing here while we're at, and the teardrop hood. Check this out. It is recessed in there, and there's the teardrop off of that Thunderbolt. Another sticker. This is one very neat piece that someone spent a whole lot of time on this car.